ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host. Excuse me. Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and OMG, do we have a show today? We got 4, not 3, not 2, not 1, 4 men in the box. They're here. Why? Super Regionals. VSiN Sports Grid gave us our guys back for a show here, so I thank them both, and we got the full crew here to talk Super Regionals. Action-packed show. Matthew George following us up. NBA, WNBA, as HALIBURTON says, hold my beer, as the Pacers shock the Thunder. And good friend to everyone on this show, Mr. Sean Alvarez, Mr. Smooth Turn 2, will wrap up the show talking Belmont Stakes, Sovereignty, the winner of the Kentucky Derby, Journalism, the winner of the Preakness. Well, could be a duel here to see who wins the Belmont. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Introduce yourself to Terry Smith, who will be here Monday at 10:50 a.m. as his Braves are getting ready to go golfing. I think, wow, they're as bad as my Red Sox there. Then head over to AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Steaks, seafood, chops, appetizers, wine. Terry's got it all. He's also got 4 subscription plans. Do what I do. Just set it and forget it. Every 30 days, Terry delivers this box. Amazing. New York strip, cowgirls, filet mignon. You name it, he's got it, and he takes good care of me. So without further ado, let's see if I can pull this one off. Mr. Matt Grissom, Mr. Quentin Mills, Mr. Hathcote. Boys, welcome.
Hello, Jeffrey.
Mr. Dawson, it's always a pleasure.
Yes, need to keep up the good luck I've had ever since joining this show between Notre Dame, Tennessee, and now you probably don't know this because I'm a Pacers fan, being from Indianapolis. So it's actually worked out crazy ever since you brought us on this show, Jeff. So hopefully that's a good sign for my Vols come this weekend.
Well, I tell you, it has been. We were talking Notre Dame football all fall. You got to the championship game. Your Vols were top of the heap for a good part of the year. Now we're simmering in. My headliner for the show, Super Regionals, NCAA baseballs, can the Vols hog-tie the Razorbacks? and so Mr. Grissom will have something to say about that. Q, I just want to quickly go over this. You weren't here on Tuesday. I talked backstage. Once the bright lights come on, once the regionals come on, since we've been doing shows, your Florida Gators have flipped the switch. Doesn't matter what their regular season is. It was just an autoplay. They're going to win the regionals. They're going to find a way to win the super regionals. They're going to get to Omaha. It's a year you want to forget. Just a quick recap of what happened over the weekend and what you got looking forward.
Well, I think injuries ultimately caught up to this team. They had a hell of a run to even get back into the playoffs and potentially a regional host spot had they won another game in the SEC tournament. But, you know, we talked backstage. They just lacked fundamentals. The talent was a huge drop-off when you lose guys like Colby Shelton, Cade Curlin, Luke Haven, and others. And then they just couldn't throw strikes. That's been a problem for the last couple of years since Brandon Sproat and Hurston Waldrop left. There's a lot of speculation. Maybe Florida should move on from their pitching coach. It's not going to happen. Sully's tight with his boys, Cop. So, just we move on. We try to recruit well, whether it's NIL and retaining some of these commits we have. Hopefully they don't go to the draft and sign, and you try to, rebound from next year. But we've got to work on fundamentals as a team for next year. We've got to work on throwing strikes and maintaining health. That's been the problem this year.
Matt, our buddy Jeffrey Benson at the Circa, good morning to him. He's as sharp as they get. And when there's a number that's out of whack, he's begging for money here. And I was talking to Nick about this, and I'm looking at DraftKings. I'm looking everywhere. The square books got Tennessee at plus 500 to win it all. Well, on Tuesday morning, Matt, Mr. Benson hung a plus 1,200 for Tennessee. And I'm talking to Nick about this. I'm scratching my head. I'm DMing Jeffrey, and I'm like, hey, Mr. Benson, someone got a fat finger over there? And we know why it was there. They need some money on that side. It's a series coming up here on the weekend. You both got to be on pins and needles here. You're only minus 145 to win this series. Yet, the winner of this series, I think, is going to cause a lot of problems in Omaha. Thoughts on VOLS versus Arkansas?
Man, I think what we just saw 3 weeks ago, it's going to be a gritty 3 games. And I know Jason just said on our show in a comment, he said, I don't think that it goes 2-1 Tennessee. If Tennessee's going to win it, they're going to do it in 2 games. I think the odds are telling you right now that the path to Omaha and winning the College World Series is all dependent on this weekend. For either of these 2 teams, it's not going to surprise me if we see the winner make it to the championship series. With all respect to LSU, I think LSU does have some flaws, and I think they're beatable. Both of these teams, I think, could beat them in Omaha. It's a complete travesty that we've got these 2 teams in this position right now and not game 2 or game 3 in Omaha.
Well, it's funny. I got to be honest. I released my selections for the Super Regionals to the ECSI VIPs yesterday. Mr. Hatcoat, I got cute here. I got Arkansas minus 145, and I have Tennessee plus 1,200 at the Circa. So I'm moving on to Omaha. I could not resist the 1,200. It's now plus 900 at the Circa. And no, I didn't move any numbers there. Trust me on that. But 500, 600 at all the square shops. It's 11-16. You got to have butterflies already, Nick.
Yeah, even though it doesn't start till tomorrow, I think what Matt said, he said it best. I think it is a travesty that these teams aren't facing off in Omaha, especially, and not even just like the fact that we're the 2, like we're fans of these 2 teams. I think Omaha is better when you get these 2 teams, like the fan bases out there in general. So whether it's like, obviously one of them's going, but doesn't matter. It'd be awesome if it's both, because Tennessee and Arkansas will fill that stadium. We saw it with Tennessee last year and whatever the last 4 years. And obviously Arkansas, those fans travel everywhere they go. So it would be much better if it was in like Omaha for sure. But yeah, I like that. I like that price that you got and the way you're playing it. I, even as a Tennessee fan, I think Arkansas wins this series. As much as I hate to say it, I think they're more consistent than Tennessee is. Now, say like if Tennessee shows up and plays at the top of their game, like they did like that Monday in Wake Forest game, that was like one of the best they played all season. And it felt like that Andrew Fisher has like kind of brought back like the old school, like Drew Gilbert, Jordan Beck, like chip on his shoulder type of thing. And they're back to like, it felt like they were a little bit mild most of the season and weren't like big, I'll keep it mellow, but they weren't big crap talkers. And they've kind of been a lot more mellow this year, but that's kind of been flushed somehow. And I think that's just part of the plan. And so if that team shows up, Tennessee has a chance because their offense has shown up out of nowhere all of a sudden. Like that was when they were like the lull of the losing 5 of the 6 series in the SEC. It was because the offense wasn't really showing up. I mean, Marcus Phillips was good every weekend. Liam Doyle was good outside of literally one start, which happened to be against Arkansas. So yeah, like Tennessee, do they have a chance? Absolutely. I like Arkansas, though, but I also like your bet because, like Matt said, I think it comes down to either the winner of Tennessee and Arkansas versus LSU. Because then there's no really other team. I mean, you're looking at on us also on the right side of the bracket. It's UCLA, UTSA, Murray State, and Duke. So I think it's a huge advantage for whoever wins this one.
Hugh, we're at the Sweet 16. We have four games going off today. The first game, Arizona, North Carolina. You guys know the last month or 6 weeks I've been hooting the Tar Heels here. Before we get into today's games and obviously tomorrow's games, is there a series price that really stands out to you? You're like kind of took a step back and like, oh, geez, okay, I see this.
I would say the one that attracted me the most, I'm not going to say I agree with it or not, was the Coastal line. I think Coastal being plus money is a good play. I really believe Coastal can go into Plainsman and win this series outright. They're so close when you look at all the analytics. When you look at, Coastal has played some Power Four teams in comparison to some other mid majors. They match up, in my opinion, really well with Auburn. Auburn, outside of Sam Dutton, doesn't have, an elite bullpen or an elite pitching staff themselves. When you look at Coastal, they have a better starting rotation as a whole. Their bullpen has held up all year long. They've came into the year, people didn't really know how they'd pitch. They've pitched excellent. They do the fundamentals. They can hit for home runs if need be. They can hit that ball in the gap. They just everything is so fundamentally sound. They're the underdog. They have the mentality that they're not scared of anybody in the country. So I think that is a great play to get it plus money. I think the rest of the plays are just way overpriced. We talk about, I think UNC's path to the tournament is there. They have an easy side of the bracket, like Nick and I talked about on our show. But again, to lay that much money on them is tough to swallow, because anything can happen. Arizona's a quality team, and they don't deserve to be that low. So I would say Coastal would be the most realistic line.
Matt, I turned on the TV Saturday and Sunday. I think it was Saturday night, Oregon State in an elimination game against USC. First inning, I see safety squeeze, 2-0. I'm like, man, it looked like I was coaching there. I love the small ball effect. I love this stuff. And then they go on and they shut out USC, and here they are against this Florida State team. Oregon State opened up short favorites. Money came in last night. The night before, there was a big power move at Circa. Florida State minus 117. Oregon State hosting. Initial thoughts there, Matt?
I think Florida State's just the better team. It sucks that they have to fly across the country and go on the road, but they're 12-6 on the road. And I think the pitching staff is going to travel well. The offense has looked streaky at times, but I think they've found their groove. And Link Jarrett, he's been here before. They got the big upset win in Tennessee as Notre Dame took them out. I think at the end of the day, you've got to go back to what you believe in, and for me, it's pitching. And I know Oregon State, according to the guide, they've got the better stat line, but again, I haven't seen them play a talent as good as Florida State in a 3-game series. So I've got to go with Florida State in this one.
Nick, Mr. Benson's already listening to the show. 3 o'clock, Miami and Florida, overnight under over 11.5. He just moved it up to 13, minus 15 cents. Next move to 13 and a hook. It looks like a first half number in a football game here. You expecting a lot of runs there?
Yes. Yeah, I think we get that. Miami, Louisville, Miami's pitching staff is better, or it has been better like throughout the entire season, especially with AJ Siskar kind of coming into his own. I think Griffin Hughes is the main name that everybody knows for Miami. But Siskar has been the better arm lately. And I think that's why he's going game one. I haven't seen Louisville, who they said. I think on our show, we all said we're assuming it's Patrick Forbes going for Louisville. He started last Friday. So that would make the most sense. He's the most talented arm, but he's very up and down. I don't think there's any doubt that he's the most, I would say, pro prospect type of arm. Upper 90s guy, crazy slider. So So the thing is, like with that total, it's if Siskar and Forbes are on, they both have the ability to throw shutouts. But they also both have the ability to have their blowups, where they could both give up 6 or 7. And both these offenses, we've said this all year long. Louisville's offense at home is very streaky and can be very good, and they can put up runs, double-digit runs in a hurry. So I think that total is about right. I would say like 12 or 13 is probably spot on. I don't think it's touchable, personally, just because I do think that number is about right. And I think what I will look at, if you're looking for a total, I think I would go game 2 or game 3 in Miami or in Louisville, because those are probably when the more likely to have some shootouts happen.
Matt, here we are, 4 series starting today. Coastal and Auburn. Auburn opened minus 165 overnight, now 148 with a 10.5. Arizona, North Carolina. North Carolina opened up minus 355, now minus 320 against Arizona. Oregon State and Florida State. Oregon State opened up minus 115. Money coming in on Oregon State today, now minus 125. Jeffrey Benson, listening again, he just bumped them to 125. Miami of Florida and Louisville, overnight Louisville minus 150, now 165 again with the 13. All home team favorites to start today, game 1s. Who's on upset alert, Matt?
I think Louisville would be, and that's not a cop out because they're one of the shorter odds. But I think Miami's dynamic of having a really good pitching staff mixed with a team that's really swinging the bat well. I think Miami can go into Louisville, like they mentioned, who can streak sometimes on offense. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami comes out of that one. And it would start by winning today with A.J. Siskar and then having Griffin Hughes come in tomorrow and close the door.
All right, I'm going to go around the horn here, no pun intended here. I'm going to start with Q. 8 series, Sweet 16. You got Biff's Almanac. We won't be back here until Tuesday morning. Thoughts? Who has Q got in pocket? Who does Q think's moving on?
I think Duke beats Murray State. I think UNC gets out of a semi-tough one against Arizona. Arizona's playing good ball as of late. LSU is just too much there for West Virginia. I do think Arkansas gets there for the home field advantage. There's such, 1-2 in their stat line. It's, you're really flipping a coin there, and you'd be on the right side, in my opinion, from an argumentative standpoint. But I think Arkansas gets it done. Can we get none of UCLA and UTSA? Is that an answer? I think ultimately UCLA sweeps. And what else am I missing? I think Coastal can get there. Coastal is one of my upset picks. And who am I missing?
Florida State.
Oh, I think Florida State. I think Florida State gets out of there. I think they're just more talented, and they're the team that's going to get back and maybe correct last year's check swing mistake and make a decent run.
No love for meat road runners, baby.
No.
I still don't believe in this UCLA team.
Mr. Grissom, this UCLA team, I didn't recognize them over the weekend. I was like, OMG here. Thoughts this weekend? Who does Mr. Grissom have in his Biff's Almanac?
Well, I took Florida State to win that series. I'm going back and forth on Auburn Coastal. I want to believe in Coastal, but I'm not going to be surprised if, just like Vanderbilt last week, we see that offense just really go into a lull. Auburn's got a pitching staff with Sam Dutton as your ace, and then Cade Fisher and Christian Chatterhorn, who's been pretty good in his game 2 or game 3 role wherever he starts. Cade Fisher's kind of the question mark for me of which Cade Fisher do you get, because we've seen instances where he is absolutely shoved, and then we've seen others where he gets blown up. But against a Coastal offense that, they're 119 in weighted runs, so 19% above the average team. This is going to be one of the lower offenses that Auburn's pitching staff has faced. I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn wins 2-0, but as much as I want to see a mid-major in Omaha, I think Coastal is your best shot outside of UTSA, which, kind of going back to what I just said, I think Zach Royce he gives them a good shot to win game one. And then we saw Braylon Owens pitch his butt off against Texas. And I think what UTSA has kind of proven is it wasn't a fluke. They've been consistently good all season long. I was doing the top 8 in weighted runs in Sierra, and oftentimes they were in that list. So I think as far as a consistency standpoint, you can trust them more than UCLA. UCLA's beaten up on a lot of bad teams. They don't have a lot of quad one wins, but hats off to them for making it this far. I didn't think they would do that. And now UTSA has got to go on the road and do it again, what they did in Austin. So maybe they can find that magic and make that happen. And then for the big one, Tennessee, Arkansas, I have no idea. I'm so leveraged on Arkansas right now. I think the smart play is to bet Tennessee to win it all. So I do think between Tennessee, Arkansas's winner, and LSU, that's what it's going to come down to in bracket 2. For bracket 1, I think it's Florida State or North Carolina, and we've seen that matchup now, I think, 4 times. And North Carolina has a 3-1 advantage over FSU. So unless something changes, I think it's North Carolina on one side and then Arkansas, Tennessee, or LSU on the other.
And I'll follow up on that, Matt. You weren't here, but I did take a bite at the apple. Shame on me. I did have LSU -5 and a hook the other night on the run line, and down 5-1. I'm like, but they chipped away. The problem is they leave the bases loaded not once but twice, and they don't score. God bless.
Thank you. Sorry.
I saw holes and flaws on this LSU team. Now, I don't know if it was the fact that they were playing Arkansas Little Rock, if that was the problem. If it wasn't for their catcher hitting a couple solo homers, I thought they were fortunate. I mean, here's Arkansas Little Rock up 5-1, and this could have been as big as upset as, Tyson losing to Buster Douglas here. I'm like, OMG here. Were you surprised at the fight, Matt, from this Little Rock team, or was LSU just a little complacent?
I think it was a mixture of both. I'm surprised of UALR. They were 6-12 in conference play. They go through the OVC tournament to get the automatic qualifying bid, and they made the most of it. Chris Curry is a great coach. He's a guy that players want to play for, but we saw the depth of the bullpen. When you go from a mid-major to a team like LSU, where they can just throw out different arms that you have not seen, high 90s fastball and a 4-pitch mix, you get these mid-major guys that, I think even Curry made the joke of, I got to see if somebody has eligibility left so they can come pitch for us. Ultimately, this is what you get in the postseason. You may have the Cinderella run, but the cream always rises to the top. And unfortunately for UALR, that's what happened with LSU.
Mr. Hat Coach, Super Regionals, what do you got in pocket? What do your eyes see when we come back on Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar with the other guys. I think the only where I'm different is I actually like Oregon State over Florida State. But I don't have it in pocket because I actually like the game-to-game numbers preferably, kind of over the actual super regional price. I think getting them at home, where they've only lost 3 games all year, is a huge, huge advantage. And we mentioned it does suck because this also feels like, just like we said for Arkansas, Tennessee, this feels like another matchup that should be an Omaha matchup. It feels like both these teams deserve and should be in Omaha. So it does think that they're playing this early. But the travel, like Florida State has done well on the road, but this is by far their longest travel situation. Like that's literally all the way across the country. You can't get much farther. So I think that's the only one I have different than these guys. I'm on Coastal. I think the Magic ends for Murray State, LSU, and then UCLA, UTSA. I don't know. I wish I could help you out more there. But I'm fine with UTSA. I think it's probably who I'd rather see just because I haven't been high on this UCLA team all year. But if UCLA plays like they did last weekend, then there's a chance they could show up and be in the championship game because that offense, pitching staff has been fine all year long. That's not an issue. But if that offense shows up like that, then yeah, they are very, very dangerous.
Boys, I can't wait. First pitch in 27 minutes, as we always do, and wrap this up here. The scroll has been going the whole time here. Can follow them at the NCAA Insiders. But as I always do, Nick, I'll start with you. Give us where they can find all your work, your dub club, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, let me go ahead and give out a quick little sweaty play for anybody that's watching for the noon game. Arizona in the first three, the run line, you can get a plus a half a run for plus 120, meaning even if the game is tied, you win that one. I actually like with Owen Kramkowski. I don't think Carolina jumps all over him. And then also give me Brandon Summerhill and White for Arizona. That those guys are so dangerous and could put up a home run quickly in that first inning. So even if this game's tied, say 0-0, 1-1, that plus 120 hits. So I actually do like that Arizona plus half a run in the first three innings. It's available on DraftKings. But otherwise, yeah, like you mentioned it, join our Dub Club. Q could tell you more about that, but our everything's kind of been blowing up this week in terms of our Discord. It has been very talkative and everything. So it's a great time to kind of be following us in every aspect.
Mr. Quentin Mills.
At Q Millie, 3 L's, 2 Y's, as we always say. And then, our Dub Club, we have a clubhouse package for the postseason where you're getting every play, whether it's a feature play or a single game play through the College World Series. It's only $24.99. It's still a great package. You're still getting, 3 weeks left of baseball. So it's definitely worth the jump to get all of our insider plays as soon as we post them.
Last but never least, we got over 200 live just watching on X. You guys have blown up like no tomorrow. Year number 3 here with the ECSI network. Mr. Grissom, the stage is yours.
collegebaseballinsiders.com. The starting pitchers for today's matchups are in. Use the projections, try to find an edge, and then follow me at Grissom on X as I try to not tweet during the Arkansas-Tennessee series, but I guarantee you I will be critiquing every single pitch and hit. It's going to be very tight. I'm very nervous about it, but I can't say it enough. It sucks that somebody's not going to Omaha, but I do think that the winner of this super regional, they're going to find themselves in the championship series in Omaha.
I agree. I can't wait. Like I said, I think I played it as smart as I can. Arkansas to win the series, but listen, Mr. Benson, you're giving me plus 1,200. I mean, come on now. Like I says, I like where I'm sitting there. So I got vested interest in both. Maybe, Nick, on Tuesday, I'll have the Tennessee VOLS bucket hat for you. How's that?
I hope so.
The 82-game season, and I'm just now hearing that Nick is an Indiana Pacers fan.
Yeah, we're not exactly an NBA show now, are we?
Gentlemen, enjoy yourself. You got 23 minutes till first pitch. We'll see everyone who can make it on Tuesday morning. How's that?
Thanks, Jeff.
Perfect.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Jeff.
Take care. Go follow the boys at the NCAA Insiders, the best in the business. Year number 3 here with ECSI. We couldn't be prouder to be partnered with them. Take a quick commercial break. Matthew George and the HALIBURTON. Hold my beer. See you soon.
Jared, hey, we're gonna need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of the stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
It's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Oh, I'm trying to multitask here. but it is what it is. And you know, the funny thing is that I talked on Sports Grid on Monday. I talked again on Wednesday. I talked with Matthew yesterday. And I basically said if there's going to be a game where they're going to steal one, it's always usually the first game. And, you know, the funny thing is here, as I'm trying to, you know, multitask here, and I'm not doing a good job. Apologies here, guys. But my point is, when you allow a team to hang around, ask the Celtics what they did it with the Knicks. Ask the Pacers versus the Knicks. And OKC just didn't step on their throat. You allow a team to hang around, bad things are going to happen. So without further ado, Mr. Matthew George. What's up, Matthew?
Morning, Jeff. I mean, as you said it right there, that is absolutely wild of what happened last night. But I mean, hey, credit to the Pacers. They made a run in the fourth quarter, and that's how they stole game one.
Well, we got some time to talk about it. How did they steal game one?
It was their second half offense, and I think that was the way that they were able to come together and play as a team. I think in the first half, you saw that they were defensively and offensively struggling, especially on both ends of the floor. But then they came out with a 31 and a 35-point swing in the third and fourth quarters, respectively. So they did everything that they could, and especially shooting the ball really well, especially down the stretch. They held OKC overall under 40% from the field and from three. So that is a big factor of how the Pacers were able to steal game one, and not to mention, as you said as well, Tyrese Haliburton knocking down the big game tie and the game go ahead jumper with 0.3 left to secure game one was absolutely nasty. Unfortunately for Knicks fans, that also is kind of deja vu from game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. So, I mean, both ways came up clutch, and that's how they're up 1-0 in the series.
The most heavily bet was OKC in 5. The second was a sweep. I've seen now OKC minus like 355. You can still get the Pacers plus 255. Fully expect OKC to win game 2. It's going to come down to game 3, and we talked yesterday. Hey, can the Pacers steal a game? And then if they do, which they did, how big is that game 3, the crowd? Because we know this, Matthew. OKC usually has one of those clunkers on the road. We could be staring at a Pacers up 2-1 after 3 games.
I mean, that's going to be a very interesting way on how this game unfolds for game 2, since they need to come back, and that OKC needs to come back in this series and tie this up. So you're going on the road, basically, if you're going 1-1, trying to figure out a game plan to stop Indiana's fast-paced offense, and then you're going to go to, like you said, Indiana, to where everything is going to be against them, where the crowd is going to be a benefactor because Indiana's a small market team, so their fan base is going to be on the high rise every single game for these next 2 games of game 3 and game 4. And the fact that their fast-paced offense can just fly around like crazy, as we know. So that's why this is going to be crucial on the other side for OKC to either seal a game on the road, either that or win 3 straight. You got to get to both games on the road to be up 3-1 in the series. Either that's going to be 2-2 going back into OKC for game 5. And I totally agree with that.
I do too, and it's kind of crazy. Most people, I've seen some big 3, 4, 5-legged parlays where they're just waiting for OKC and Edmonton, OKC and the Florida Panthers. I saw a guy drop a cool $1.1 million on OKC to win the NBA championship to net himself $150,000. There isn't anyone in the world other than Pacers, Pacers family, and Pacers fan base that believes in this team. But they've been dogs the whole series, whether it's the Cavs, whether it's the Knicks. No one believed in this team, yet they're three games away from making history.
I mean, in this, it's a very great thing for Pacers fans, and it's also a great thing for just the league in general, because we've seen even in the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals, no team has made the NBA Finals in a very, very long time, or even at all. Minnesota's never made it to the finals. Indiana hasn't made the finals in over 2 decades. OKC hasn't made it since Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. So that was back in 2011, 2013, 2012, 2013, and they still lost to the big three of Miami and the Miami Heat. And then this is going to be an historic run for whoever wins the NBA Finals between OKC and Indiana. So it's going to be history no matter what happens, because I think that it's going to be a new type of, as we mentioned, a new type of generation where players are stepping up and they're very young. Tyrese Halliburton, for example, and SGA. These are one of the youngest players on the team. OKC in general as a team are the youngest out of the group, out of the entire league. So a very interesting concept of how the league is transitioned, and the Pacers just in general, they are going to be the big story if they go on to win an NBA title.
Well, you got some thoughts and props for game number 2. What are they?
Yeah, for game 2, it's we decided, since there was so much heavy money going into the Pacers, we're gonna go both sides, for both on the Thunder and for the Pacers. You can parlay this however you want. I decided to parlay this all straight up, but you can take these individually as well. So for the Thunder side, we're gonna still go with SGA at 34.5 points at -110, since he's hit that number 4 out of the last 5 games, as we mentioned in the Western Conference Finals. And in game 1, he had 38 points. So again, obviously he's going to be the main focal point of the offense for the Thunder. No question that he's going to do the same thing again. Even though it juiced up to 34.5 compared to yesterday's 33, he recorded, as we mentioned, 38 last night. So again, he's going to be hitting that number, I believe, as well. So Isaiah Hartenstein on the other side, over 6.5 rebounds last night. He had 9 rebounds in game 1, and in 4 of the last 5 games, he's got 6+ rebounds. So he's going to be creating more opportunities, both on the defensive rebounding and offensive rebounding, to create second chance points for the Thunder. So that's why we can go with him at -114. Tyrese Halliburton, then we're going to go with the big home runs here. We're going to go with Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam to get a double-double. In the Eastern Conference Finals, Tyrese Halliburton hit the number 4 out of the last 6 times in the Eastern Conference Finals versus the New York Knicks, and he recorded that with rebounds in Game 1 against OKC last night. So no question that he could do it either with rebounds or assists, including with his points, to get a double-double. Pascal Siakam is more of a stretch. I did this because he could create and secure rebounds to create more scoring opportunities for the Indiana Pacers. So that's why he's going to be able to create second chance points as well, if he's able to grab a couple of offensive rebounds, and also to create some more scoring opportunities if he secures the defensive rebounds on that type of end. I got this at 40-1. If we're parlaying all of this together, it's going to be a very interesting game 2 as well, because on this stage, it's the finals, so everyone is going to be stepping up as well. So it's whether it's the team, like how it was for the Pacers, or if it's just SGA just bringing the scoring load for the OKC in game 2.
Well, let's go to the WNBA before we go to your thoughts there. Basically, in a nutshell, here we got a couple games tonight. We got Atlanta at Connecticut. Atlanta minus 10.5 now. Connecticut is bad. Let me just tell you that.
Yes.
LA at Dallas. Dallas opened up overnight minus 1.5. Now LA minus 2. Before we get to those two games and your prop market here, Paige Beckers missed second straight game, concussion protocol, and Caitlin Clark's going to be reevaluated over the weekend. Initial thoughts with those two.
Yeah, and Paige Beckers is missing again tonight. So there are no props out for her as well. So she's going to be still in that concussion protocol. So hopefully she does come back very soon. So she, yeah, I think it's better to just keep her, um, you know, slowly recovering, because concussions are very. I mean, concussions don't really happen too much in the WNBA slash NBA, especially with how the league is transitioning to shooting more. But they should definitely keep her in the wraps, just for her to recover easily and coming back into the Dallas Wings rotation slowly but surely, and coming back. That's why you see this line jumping only at 2.5, depending on what the number is, against the Sparks tonight. And then Caitlin Clark, as we know, that she's still dealing with that injury as well. So it's I think it's more for her, as well as I mentioned with Paige Beckers, to slowly bring her back into the rotation. Obviously she's a big reason of why the WNBA is where it is right now, in terms of the viewership, in terms of how the Fever have been playing as well. Obviously, they're struggling a little bit with their offense, obviously, because Caitlin Clark is not there. So this is the big reason of why Indiana's been stepping up, but that's also the reason why they're struggling as well throughout the rest of the season. So we'll see what happens on both ends for Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark coming back to the league with their injuries.
Atlanta and Connecticut, like I said, Atlanta minus 9 with a 157 overnight. Now currently at the Circa, Atlanta has jumped to 10.5 with a 157.5. Props and thoughts?
As you mentioned, Connecticut is one of the worst teams in the league. I still think that they're the worst team. I mean, aside from maybe Chicago, but Chicago's finding a way to win some games as well. But the main person we're going with tonight is Alicia Gray. Alicia Gray has been absolutely stellar throughout the season so far, and one of the main reasons why the Atlanta Dream are 5-3 to start off the season. So, we're going with Alicia Gray at plus 20 plus points, and at plus 186. She's hit that number at 3 of the last 4 games. Not to mention she's averaging over 21.5 points per game so far this season. So she's been absolutely stellar from both on the interior and shooting from the perimeter. And we're gonna go with her for 4+ rebounds at minus 215. So you can parlay this at plus 2 to 2.5. 2.5 to 1 around that. We're depending on the number, because she's hit 4+ rebounds in every single game except for one in the 7 games that she's played so far this season. So Alicia Gray, a big reason why that the Dream's been successful so far, and I don't see how she would do the same again for the Dream tonight.
Nightcap LA at Dallas, 9:30 p.m. tip-off start Eastern. Overnight Dallas minus 1.5. Now LA Sparks minus 2. It was 169 and a hook, now adjusted to a 173.5. I do see some 174s out there, expecting a lot of points here. Props and thoughts for this game?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of offense for both teams, especially for the Sparks. So I would say heavily go on the Sparks as well. I would take them on the money line to win the game as well, because Dallas is obviously, as we mentioned, is struggling without Paige Beckers. Even with Paige Beckers, they're still trying to figure out their offense as a whole for the team. They have won a couple of games without Paige Beckers, but that's because Rika Wumnike has actually been stepping up a little bit. Rika Wumnawale. But her offense has been up and down for some reason. I don't know why. I think her shot selection is a little bit stiff, but the way that the Sparks have been playing have been pretty much a bit better than people expect, especially since Kelsey Plum, as we're going to mention right now, is going to be the main reason why she's been so successful with the team. So with that being said, we're going with two Sparks players. That is going to be Kelsey Plum and Darica Hamby, both for points. So Kelsey Plum with 20 plus points at plus 146. She's hit that number 4 times this season, and she is the main catalyst for the offense. She's averaging over 22 points per game this season. It has gone down a little bit because she's only averaged under 20 points. She's gotten 17 and 15 last game, but I think tonight she's going to definitely step up in terms of shooting, in terms of the way she's going to create her shot, especially against this Dallas Wings team, who's again, as I mentioned, struggling a bit on both ends of the floor. And then Darica Hamby is going to be a good focal point for the team as well. So Darica Hamby at plus 15 plus points. So you can parlay this at a plus 172, and at minus 222 because she's hit that number 5 out of the last 7 games with 15 plus points. Again, note Paige Beckers is not playing tonight, so she's gonna miss this game. So we'll see how everything unfolds for the Sparks, but I think that's good how the way you could attack this game tonight.
Well, Matthew, a busy weekend ahead for you in New York City as we speak. WNBA tonight, game number 2 in the NBA Finals as OKC looks to even that series to all the doubters there. Scroller's been going the whole time. Everyone knows on X where to follow you at MG28 Sports. I know where to follow you, of course, on Sports Grid as well. Hope we'll see you Wednesday at 8:32 with Dave Sharapan and Scott Wetzel in-game live. But as we always wrap up this spot, tell them also where to find your podcasts and the rest of your work throughout the week.
Yep. If anybody wants to tune in on Tuesday and Wednesday on 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, as Jeff mentioned, he'll be on Wednesday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, in-game live game day with Scott Wetzel and Dave Sharapan going throughout all the games in terms of the NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Finals, and in the WNBA and MLB regular season. And then Coach James Young and I do a podcast twice a week, and releasing every Tuesday and Thursday. We record Monday and Wednesday, covering the NBA, WNBA, and college basketball as well. So be sure to tune in. Be sure to continue as we go along with the WNBA season, and the NBA Finals is in full swing. So we got a lot to cover, and it's going to be very interesting to see how everything unfolds.
Matthew, have a blessed day and a better weekend, and we'll catch up next week, and I'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Take care. Matthew George, go follow him at MG28 Sports. You can catch him Tuesdays and Wednesdays on the Sports Grid, in-game live. And, of course, don't miss his podcast with Mr. Coach James Young. On deck, Mr. Smooth Turn himself. Smooth Turn 2, that is. Sean Alvarez, as we got a big race, the third leg of the Triple Crown, the Belmont. There'll be no Triple Crown winner here, but we got a little head-to-head matchup. The Kentucky Derby winner, Sovereignty. The Preakness winner, Journalism. And I got to talk to him about the Preakness. Quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Good Food. At Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, you'll find the highest quality meats from a variety of delicious cuts, tomahawks, salmon fillets, ribeyes, and plenty more to choose from. With an easy-to-use mobile-friendly website, selecting your pick of meat is made quick and easy. And don't forget, worrying about your dinner is a thing of the past. Check out some of the amazing subscription packages that Atlanta Steaks and Seafood has to offer. Fresh steak and seafood straight to your door. Order online at atlantasteaksandseafood.com.
Well, Sean was here for the Kentucky Derby, and due to my travel schedule, we didn't get back for the Preakness. And I'm still smiling because I can't believe what I saw. I really can't, and I got to bring him on to bring it up. Mr. Sean Alvarez. What's up, Sean?
Jeff, I'm always a broken record when I come on your show, but as always, it's always fun when we get to sit down and talk horse racing, because that just means there's a really big horse racing weekend ahead of us, and that rings even more truth with the Belmont Stakes and one of my favorite tracks up in Saratoga. No offense to everybody up in New York that holds Belmont Park near and dear to their heart, but I think Saratoga is second to none. Maybe with a little bit of Del Mar, but Del Mar has a lot to do with the visuals off the track as opposed to on the track.
Well, we got almost 300 live people just on X watching us here today. So we're going to be expecting a lot more from you throughout the summer in the Saratoga. So this is just the tip of the iceberg here. Sean, I'm watching the Preakness, and I'm watching as they come around the final corner, and I'm saying to myself, no, he's not. No, he's not. That move that journalism made, I'm still starstruck. I obviously I'm cringing because I thought, oh my God, someone's going to fall, the horse is going to fall, the jockey's going to fall, and to split them. And then the race, we're like, all right, journalism's going to finish second. Great job, great job. Take us to that spot that I'm talking about and take us down the stretch. Did you ever think journalism not only was going to split them, but actually win that race?
No, I mean, and you can even kind of, go back a little bit further, probably, a furlong before that. As they were going into the turn, it looked like Umberto was asking, for a little bit more effort from journalism, being a little bit too far back. He wasn't responding to the point where I thought, and I'm sure Umberto thought he would when he, asked him the question. And, like you said, and Umberto's kind of been, in interviews answered the question of, why did you go through, a hole that if there was a hole there, it was there for a split second and it went away. I don't hold any ill regard towards Flavian and the one horse that kind of, people say, oh, he came out a little bit, but, at the same time, Flavian's trying to get his horse to switch leads, go on with it, go track down that horse. And, when Umberto made that move going through, he thought he had to save as much ground as he could. He kind of flipped it into a Kentucky Derby race with 19 or 20 horses in the race, as opposed to, the small field that he saw at Pimlico. But, I was telling Marco at Westgate earlier when we were shooting a video, at some point I thought Umberto and journalism were parallel with the track. I mean, like you said, thank goodness, nothing happened. All the horses came back happy and healthy, but not only that, it almost just seemed to piss off journalism, and he just motored down that number 9 horse. And, unfortunately, we weren't around to do the show as you were, you were on assignment, as you like to say about Q, when he's got work and vacations going on. But, we had the trifecta as, I really did like that number 9 horse Gosker at 20-1 morning line, went off at 15-1. But, yes, I liked the horse, and yes, I was using the horse. But when he had a 6th or 7th length lead in the stretch, I'm just yelling, no. You can hit the board. You cannot win. But, yeah, I was, for being able to tag down that second place horse at the price and seeing the effort that journalism went through was definitely a very impressive running of the Preakness.
Yeah, after the race, and you already brought it up, I was going to ask you about Pratt, Flavian Pratt. A lot of people thought that he was making sure with that effort, almost like a lean to the left, that, hey, journalism, you're not winning this race. And then, but that didn't happen. Everyone came back healthy. And now we'll have a rest versus rust where Sovereignty skips the Preakness and has been now rested, ready for the Belmont, of course. And here comes journalism in the third race here, but we'll get to that first. You have a race before that, race 12, grade 1 Manhattan Stakes, 1 3/16 miles on the turf. What are your eyes seeing?
Yeah, I know it's the Belmont Festival, and these are technically Belmont Park races, but today and tomorrow, we're just filled with really good and really competitive races that we can really find value, if you will, as opposed to a shorter Belmont Stakes field. And yes, we're getting the Kentucky Derby and we're getting the Preakness horse. So we may not be, be able to find value and get paid like we want to in the Belmont Stakes. So, we looked at the race right before that, and I think the number 6 horse, Spirit of St. Louis, is the well-deserving favorite coming into this race. But my top pick is going to be the number 3, Highway Robber, at a nice price of 6-1, being trained by Ryan Lynch and ridden by Christian Torres. He ran a good race in his first start back after running in over in Dubai in Median in that Grade 2 race where he just didn't really run all that well. He got a little bit of a freshener, brought him back to the States, and he ran in the Grade 1 Turf Classic in the Kentucky Derby undercard at Churchill Downs, ran a good third place finish. The first place winner in that race is the favorite that I alluded to, Spirit of St. Louis, but the second place horse in that race did come back and win, giving the number 3 Highway Robber just a little bit of form value or bump up, if you will. And I like the 6-1 price as opposed to the 5-2, but he is going to have to turn the tables on the favorite Spirit of St. Louis, who is going to be my second choice, ridden by Manny Franco, trained by Chad Brown, just really good human connections in this race. He's probably going to have to repeat that effort that he ran just that last start back at Churchill Downs. I do think that, he can be beaten in this race. While he is the deserving favorite, I'm not going to get beat by him per se. So I'm going to use him on top as well. But another horse that I kind of have a little bit of an intrigue in is number 4, Carson's Run at 12-1. This is another horse that just isn't really going to be involved early. He's going to come and make that one run late, but there is a lot of speed really signed up to the outside in this race. So they could be cooking early, and this horse has one of the best closing kicks. Now, is he going to have a little bit too much to do? Maybe, but I do like that really big turn of foot as he kicks home, and love the 12-1 price. So I'm going to run with a little bit of an exacta here. I am going to use the favorite defensively up top, but then I'm going to run 3, 4, 6 on top over the 1, 3, 4, 6, and 9. The 9's going to be included because he's going to be a little bit more not loose on the front end. He's going to be involved in that pace, and we've seen it in the past where you can expect a quick pace. It's really going to benefit the horses in the back. And then, everybody's worried about the horses in the back and somebody gets loose on the lead. So I'm going to use that horse a little bit defensively on top. And then I'm going to include a big old bomb in the 1 at 20-1. So hopefully this is, or maybe it is a similar outcome as Gloucester where I'm screaming at him to not win, but hold on for a second. But the number 1, Endlessly, trained by Michael McCarthy, ridden by Umberto Rispoli. He ran a good third place finish last time out. That second place horse, King of Gosford, came back and won. So if you're going to give me a 20-1 ridden by Umberto Rispoli, he's going to save all the ground on the rail. Maybe he can spice up the exacta. So again, that's 3, 4, 6 over 1, 3, 4, 6, and 9 for $1 that costs $12 to punch.
Before we get to your Belmont Stakes, I have to ask you this here. You and I, diehard horse fans here, and for the average person, whoever wins the Derby, there's that 2 weeks. All right, are they gonna, we're gonna have a Triple Crown winner here because the buzz starts to be created. Well, the winner of the Kentucky Derby, Sovereignty, the owner, and everyone else a part of that team says, hey, thanks, we're the Kentucky Derby champs, but we're going to take these 2 weeks off. We'll let everyone else battle for the Preakness, and we'll catch you at the Belmont. For you being the professional that you are in the horses, do you agree with this move, or are you a little disappointed that, the Derby winner always or most of the time goes to the Preakness?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword as, I would like to get, as many new faces, watching or interested in horse racing and betting. And, the Kentucky Derby winner skipping the Preakness just did us no favors as far as, the interest leading up into that Pimlico card. So, I don't love that, but as a horse player, and the horses always come first, in my opinion. I really like what the ownership group did, as well as Belmont. He really listens to what the horse tells him as far as what he wants to do. Is he eating his feed? Is he galloping really well in the mornings? They really listen to and watch how the horse is reacting, how his body language, what his body language is telling him as far as when he wants to run the race. And, on top of that, Sovereignty ran the biggest race of his career. We've talked about horses in the past when, they make a big jump up, maybe, a bounce effort is coming, and, turning back in 2 weeks is not necessarily a formula to, turn in a better effort than the Kentucky Derby, or even repeat that effort from the Kentucky Derby. So, and even on top of that, the pace and the Preakness just was never gonna play out to influence his closing kick. So I lean towards, I think they did right by the horse. I think they even did right by themselves. You don't want to run the horse into the ground, and all of a sudden, he's going to stud before the Breeders' Cup even races in late October, early November. I always thought it was the first Saturday in November, but apparently in the Belmont is going to be late October. And I even Googled a little bit, and they definitely run in October as well. I always thought it was similar to the Kentucky Derby, where it's the first Saturday in November, but I was wrong again on that one.
Well, 13th race, Grade 1 Belmont Stakes, 1.25 miles on the dirt. I'm not going to tip your hand here. Here you got a fresh Kentucky Derby winner with a couple extra weeks off. In comes journalism, third race here. I love where your eyes are, because before you sent me this, I kind of, honestly, knowing you and knowing the horses here, I kind of thought you'd be aiming this way. But going back to that move, if journalism happens to win this race, after what it did at the Preakness, after, let's just say, wins the Belmont tomorrow, great race at the Derby. My point is, he at least tried to win the Triple Crown here versus Sovereignty. And if Sovereignty wins this race, well, God bless their team, the owners. It was the right move. And I didn't poo-poo the move. I really didn't, because, listen, if I just won the Derby and I know my horse isn't set up for the Preakness, but we can get them rested and ready for the Belmont, I'm going to do what's best for my team and my horse.
Yeah, I mean, nothing against the connections, nothing against anybody that's betting that horse, but I feel like, as far as my sanity on Twitter, I think the worst thing possible for horse racing is if Sovereignty wins this race, because there's going to be so many people what ifs, and now we're going to get people poo-pooing the decision by the owners and the trainer. And I mean, I don't think that they're second guessing themselves at all, but if they do win the Belmont, there has to be some kind of thought in their mind of, did we make the wrong decision? And, did we take away a Triple Crown from Sovereignty? Now, we're going to go into my picks, and I don't think that's going to happen, but, that's a lot of the what ifs as far as the horses going into this race.
Well, take it away. Race 13, Grade 1 Belmont Stakes, 1.25 miles on the dirt.
Yeah, a late starting colt trained by John Sheriffs. My top pick is going to be the number 6 Baeza, and if we get anywhere near 4-1, I will be running to the window as they're leading to the gate. But I really think that we're going to see Baeza around 2-1, maybe Sovereignty up around the 5-2, 3-1 type of lines. I think these two horses are going to flip flop, but. He needed a win in the Santa Anita Derby. Unfortunately, was a three-quarters of a length, just not as good as journalism in that race. And in lieu of scratches, he actually got into the Kentucky Derby. He needed, I think he was 21st or 22nd on the points list, and needed two. If not one, I believe he needed 2 scratches and got him to get into the Kentucky Derby. And if you watch the way he ran that race, I thought Flavian did a good job as far as, trying to cut corners, trying to save ground where needed. But every time he went inside, he was either bothered by a horse to his outside or just, the holes kind of got shut off. And he had to make that sweeping wide move following the likes of Journalism and Sovereignty that got the better or the first jump as far as making that first move. And if you watch the last furlong of the race, he was coming home best of all. So he really just got bothered and kind of roughed up early. Flavian, was going in and out. I think if he repeats that effort in a much smaller field where, he's not going to have to deal with that traffic, I really think that maybe he's not the horse to beat based on, the results that Journalism's had. But this is definitely my top choice. Like I said, if I can get anywhere between 3-1 or 4-1, I'm definitely making a win bet. And that just takes me to my second choice, Journalism. There's really nothing to knock about him. The big question mark on him is, yes, he's, the horse that's running in the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. But if you look back, it's actually going to be his 5th race since March 1st of this year. So add another 2, races leading up into the Kentucky Derby, and what does Journalism have left in the tank? And did that bump take a little bit out of him? But with that being said, it's still Michael McCarthy, a very solid trainer that he's not going to put his horse in this race if he doesn't think that he's at least 95 or even 100%. So I'm not necessarily questioning that. I think he will get a good trip, sitting just kind of mid-pack behind the speed. And if we see anything like what we saw in that last furlong in the Preakness, this horse knows his job. He likes to win, and he will be coming flying. So I'm going to play against Sovereignty, especially on the win end. I'd probably use him a little bit defensively in the exacta, but even then, I'm including that would be including the first, second, and third choice. So I'm gonna go a little bit bold. I'm gonna try and take a stand. I think Rodriguez is the class of the speed, but I think him and Crudo are gonna kind of ding dong and battle each other. Maybe set up some quick fractions, but I expect Crudo to kind of be the first one to bow out of that battle. And we've seen Baffert horses, go on the lead, go a little bit too fast, too early, and really dig in. So I'm going to use that horse a little bit defensively in second. And instead of giving you an exacta, because like I said, I really like the, 2 of the top 3 choices and kind of a small race or small field. So I'm going to use a 50-cent trifecta. I'm just going to use 6 and 7 on top. And I'm only going to include Rodriguez as well as the 6, 7, and second. So it's going to be 6, 7 over 3, 6, 7 over 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. So I'm using Sovereignty only in third as a little bit of a defensive play. I really actually like Hill Road as a price. I think he's going to run a very similar race to Sovereignty. And I think, Irad's kind of going to do a very similar ride to what Gosker got in the Preakness. I don't think he's going to be really too worried about other horses. Let's let him run his race, see where the chips fall at the end of the race. So again, it's 6, 7 over 3, 6, 7 over 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 for a 50-cent try. And that will only cost you $6.
I want to bring up Rodriguez for 1 second here, because I think we were talking, let me see, in March with the race to get Rodriguez. We were on Rodriguez. They flew Mikey Smith then, boxed the wire. I really thought you would have him on your ticket. You're talking there could be a speed duel here, but I've seen the class of Rodriguez. Is there any chance that Rodriguez hits the lid, goes to the lead, they don't get that speed duel, and he's not caught?
I really think that the way that Rodriguez wins this race is if the number 5 Crudo just misses the break. He's got a lot of gate speed as well. He doesn't necessarily have the closing staying power, or at least hasn't shown it yet. He's a very lightly raced horse. He doesn't necessarily have the class and the form of Rodriguez, but if we look back at that Wood Memorial at Aqueduct that you were referring to, he was left alone on the lead in workout type fractions, and Grande, who actually really liked going into the Derby but scratched, had a big run, But, Mikey asked the question after, setting 47-2, 111-1 type fractions. And not only that, but, he was left alone. There was nobody even eyeballing him. So, it really felt to Rodriguez like, he was working out in the morning. And at some point, I'm going to get the tap on the shoulder and I'm going to kick on. And that's what he did. I just don't really think that holds up very well to the likes of Baeza, to the likes of journalism. And, if we get a Crudo scratch, which would obviously lead to, him getting a loose lead, and we can't necessarily bet on Crudo missing the break, or at least you can't bet on it after it happens. I really think that's how Rodriguez wins. Something goes amiss with Crudo. Rodriguez gets an easy lead. Nobody really has the early speed or footing to go up there. But, honestly, even if Rodriguez gets an early lead, we're talking about two classy horses in Baeza and journalism that even if Rodriguez gets a similar Wood Memorial trip, I would still bet on Baeza and journalism running him down.
Well, Sean, you got a busy weekend ahead, of course. Everyone knows on Twitter where to find you. At least I do. It's Smooth Turn 2. You do a lot of work for Wager Talk as well. And then your website, wt.buzz/SA, as we always wrap up this segment here till we start bringing you on more Fridays, of course, for Saratoga and the other big races and meets. Tell everyone where they can find your work and what you got to offer for the weekend.
Yeah, so like I alluded to earlier, I believe we should be on the second race at Saratoga, but there's 14 races on the slate today, 14 races on the slate tomorrow. In between the two of them, it's 14 graded stakes races. So yes, we just broke down the Belmont. We also went over a turf race right before that, but there are plenty of really good competitive races on the undercard at Saratoga, both today and tomorrow. You can get both of my packages over at wt.buzz/SA. And on top of that, it's going to be a busy week next week. You can also get my golf packages. We got the U.S. Open. I will definitely be tuning in to listen to you and Brady Cannon break down that as well. But I'm definitely looking forward to that. So like I said, head over to my page, wt.buzz/SA. Do golf, baseball, and horse racing.
Sean, always a pleasure. We're blessed and honored to be doing years of content and horse racing with you. Golf, baseball, you name it, you got it. Have an amazing weekend. Enjoy the races, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sean Alvarez, go follow him at Smooth Turn 2. Quick commercial break, and we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned. ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Man, what a show. I want to thank everyone here. Over 300 live just on Twitter. If you haven't already, head on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. We're almost at 12,000 subscribers. Head on back to Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it today, at EC Sports Invest. Follow us. We'll follow you back. We started with the NCAA Insiders. The Super Regionals underway as we speak. Matthew George followed up with the NBA, WNBA. You can go follow him, of course, Sports Grid, and make sure you check out his podcast with Coach Young. It's absolutely amazing. And then we wrap it up with good friend and colleague, Mr. Sean Alvarez at Smooth Turn 2, talking Belmont Stakes. Guys, I was on earlier today with Andrew McGinnis at Wager Talk, and on his channel I offered up a special. And since we have a standing room only here, I'm going to offer it up to the first three people here as well. If you go to our webpage at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com, top right corner is plans and pricing. You scroll all the way down, you see a monthly retail price. I'm going to move that to the left here. Okay, we do offer for $3 a day. We call it the ECSI VIP experience. It's your own gym membership. All our plays sent to you via text and sent to you email. No timestamp. We wait for the best numbers. We ship it, and whether you're at work, whether you're at the gym, whether you're out on the golf course at a wedding, whatever, it pops right up there. You take it from there. You decide what you're going to do. We're celebrating our 10th year of public service, but I'm going to take it a step further. For the first 3 people here today, $3.99 will take you to today all the way through the World Series. So you get the rest of June, July, August, September, and through October and the World Series for $3.99. And I get room for 3 people and 3 people only. So you can send me a DM, say, hey, Jeff, I'm in, and we'll set up whether it's PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. Listen, back in the day when I started this a million years ago, there were 3 ways. There was MoneyGram, Western Union, or the Pony Express. Now, today's world, there's a million apps. So I just say, reach out to me, or say, send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. That is MLB, the rest of the NBA playoffs, the rest of the NHL playoffs. We went 1-0 in the CFL yesterday with Saskatchewan team total over. That is the U.S. Open and the rest of the golf. That will be our college football futures, our NFL futures, and then, of course, we're going to take you right through the start of football, and we're going to take you through the MLB playoffs. We're going to take you right up through the World Series. So, again, $3.99. That's it. One price, and you're good through October. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from everyone else that here is joining us, 2 o'clock, Scotty Webb will be back for MLB Bright Lights. We're going to break down the MLB card tonight. Till then, enjoy your afternoon, and we'll see you soon.